Hi guys, welcome. My name is Jackie Dunlap and I own a mortgage brokerage with my corporate office in Littleton, Colorado. I also own a branch in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we also have a license in Amarillo, Texas. You probably found yourself to this video because you saw somewhere on social media that I or somebody else posted that I am training for mortgage processors. It is genuinely an underserved area in the mortgage industry that we desperately need more people to be coming into. And the thing about mortgage, and especially in the broker environment, is that there really isn't a lot of training out there. We were at a meeting recently where we talked about how people got into the mortgage industry. And really, most people in the mortgage industry get in because they know somebody or their family's in it. I'm filming this during COVID, and so I had recently brought on some new staff, and there is a wholesale lender that often does some really unique training for us, and I had them signed up for it, and they couldn't go. It literally was canceled like 2 days after I had registered them. Fortunately, I have a background in corporate training, and I just thought to myself, I'm going to have to train them. And since we're all on shutdown orders, I knew that it was going to have to be over a web-based platform. This has evolved, and I found the opportunity to offer this in any internet platform and be able to teach people who've never worked in this industry how to work in this industry. So if you're someone who's looking for a career change, if you're someone who was affected or is affected by the COVID pandemic, this is being filmed in April of 2020, and not sure that you're going to be able to go back to work in a career field that you're currently in, or when that might even reopen, I wanted to take the opportunity to open the door and pull up some more seats at this table and invite as many people as I could to learn about the mortgage industry and to learn how to process loans. I will tell you before we jump in that it is one of the most frequently asked questions within our forums, within our community, is who knows a good mortgage processor? And good mortgage processors are like gold. Once you have one, you don't want to lose them. I've been in the industry since 2005, and I've worked through the mortgage industry through the first crisis, and now we're working through this unique situation of COVID. What really happened is it presented the opportunity for somebody, and why not me, to teach people how to do this business. It is legitimate work from home. You can do it from home. In fact, most mortgage brokers work remote, much like money underwriters work from home, and sometimes even title people work from home. Y'all, I'm gonna sneeze. And no, I won't edit that out because that is who I am. And as you watch my trainings, you'll get that I'm a really real person. So let's just jump right in really quick. Is this a work from home job? It absolutely is. The benefit and the blessing of a mortgage processor is we're not bound to working within the walls of an office. Now, I will tell you that there are some states that do require what's called a brick and mortar building. If you're in a state that requires a brick and mortar building and you do a training with me and I'm able to refer you to one of our partners that is requesting a mortgage processor, y'all just need to work that out on your own, how that's going to work. But a lot of mortgage processors and mortgage loan officer assistants work remote. What do I need to do a job like this? Well, probably everything you already have. You need a phone number. What I tell people is that if you don't want to give your cell phone out, you can register for a free phone number, which would be a Google phone number or some sort of VoIP phone number. There's a couple, and off the top of my head, I don't recall what they are, but for example, if you registered for a Google phone number, you can give that number out and then have it forward to your personal cell phone. So that would be one way that you could do that, but you have to have a phone number. You need to have a computer of some sort. Now, I choose to have a laptop because then I can work from wherever. I will tell you that when I started working in the broker environment, there were times when I worked from my son's baseball scouting event. And I would tell people, hey, I just want to let you know I'm telecommuting. I had the opportunity to bring my son to Arizona. He's doing a baseball scouting trip. So if you hear some baseball and shouting and cheering in the background, it's because I'm actually working at the ball field. A lot of times people think it's really cool. And the only thing that I tell people is make sure you disclose that you're telecommuting or that you're working from home so that they don't think you're not a valid business or business person because they hear something in the background that you didn't disclose up front. Nowadays in 2020, it's really common to be able to work from home. You have to have internet, okay? The best thing that you can do is work from a secure home internet that you have that's locked and not an open network. I know that I have worked at places like Starbucks, but there are a lot more compliance and a lot more security issues with working in open networks. So for example, like working on a free Wi-Fi at the airport or free Wi-Fi at Starbucks probably isn't going to be the safest. Your loan officer or state may not actually, may have some regulations about working on an open Wi-Fi connection. Oftentimes, if I need to work remote, I will turn my phone into a hotspot and I'll work off the internet on my phone. Because I'm the only one that has a login to that. The other thing that I suggest is that you have a separate email. So don't use your personal email where you get all your kids' school emails and teacher updates. It's just too risky that you might miss a really important communication from a loan officer or from a title company or an insurance agent. When I first started, I used Hotmail because gave me access to the OneDrive. The important thing with that is I didn't have to store any documentation on my hard drive of my computer. If anything was to happen to my computer, if it broke or if it was stolen, I could just cut the link from the OneDrive and nobody would have access to the documents. Google is also a great one because you have access to a Google Drive. So storing documents and storing communications in a cloud-based software that's hosted by a software company that meets security credentials is always a great idea. Not required, but suggested would be to obtain an e-fax phone number. Some of the job requires that you fax things out. Cool thing is that you actually don't need a fax machine anymore. You need the ability to create documents. If you have one of these email providers, Google or Hotmail or MSN, Outlook, whatever its name is these days, you're given access within the cloud to PDF or Word documents, Excel, and so you have the ability to create some stock documents that are pretty commonly used within the industry to do this job. So really, what a mortgage processor does is works on the behind the scenes of a mortgage loan application. You're kind of like an Uber driver. You're going to be helping the loan officer get the file from the borrower to the bank, and then from the bank back to the loan officer. You're going to help satisfy conditions. So when a file is sent to an underwriter is going to review it and say, great, based on the information you've provided thus far, this looks good. We need to clarify, or we need some additional documentation to validate the information on the application. And so you're going to help gather some of that information, and you're going to help communicate between the bank and the loan officer, and sometimes the client or the borrower, with what's needed in order to get their loan to a final approving status so they can close on it. This is a very underserved need in the mortgage industry. I've been in mortgage since 2005, and I have done just about every single job in mortgage since I was in it. And I will tell you that I also bring some very unique perspective. I've worked in what's called retail lending. And then I've spent the last 8 years in broker. I think it is the best, just dropped my ring. I think it is the best place for a consumer or a borrower to obtain a mortgage. And now I want to share the blessing that it has been to my family by teaching people how to do this job, training them, and then maybe even trying to pair them up with someone that I know or that I see is looking for a processor. So if this is something that interests you, hang out on our channel.